I imagine lately there is a lot of people in the United States and Europe that are thinking about moving, about thinking about getting out of the countries. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. There was a swath of people that moved during and immediately after COVID, and still, just like there was people who moved before COVID. Me being one of them. I don't know when I moved to Puerto Rico in 2018, I think. Um, and I think it's all fine reasons. My opinion is that you know let try to let your reasons be. I don't want to say pure, but not super emotional. With what's going on in the world right now, whether you believe one side or the other, or you fall somewhere in the middle. I mean, it's the world's a little bit more dangerous than it was 6 months ago. So if your concern is your safety, your family's safety, that's totally legit. That's totally legit. Um, as a reason to move. But I would have other reasons to move as well. It's not it's not a bad thing to want to move. You'll always get people you'll always get crabs in the bucket that want to hold you down. You'll have family members, friends who think you're being pardon the noise, just cooking some bacon and eggs for dinner. You'll have possibly family members and friends, or just random people who think you're being unpatriotic. Um, Likely, if you go back far enough, not this doesn't apply to everyone, but if you go back far enough in your lineage, some people in your bloodline moved from somewhere to where you are currently, to the country where you are currently. Maybe it was yourself or your parents or your grandparents to seek a better life, to seek safety, more economic opportunities. So anyone who says it's unpatriotic can, stick it up their rear. Um, there's whatever reason is in your heart to move. That's okay. That's absolutely okay. Um, but is it motivating you enough to do the research, to buy the plane ticket, to do a pre-move visit, go visit somewhere wherever you're interested in for 4 months, or not 4 months, but 4 weeks at minimum. That's my recommendation. 4 weeks minimum, longer if possible. Not everyone can do that, and live like a local. Find out what it is to live like a local. See if you would like it in that area. Maybe try different neighborhoods in the city of the country. And look, it doesn't even have to be another country. If you're in the United States, you can move to another state. You know, I'm from Minnesota. There's a vast difference between being around the city in Minneapolis, the cities around Minneapolis, and then like the city, the cities up north, Virginia, Alexandria, Ely. Vastly different than how it is in Minneapolis and the suburbs around there. So if you can do that, if you can do the pre-move visit, I highly recommend that. I didn't really do it when I moved to Puerto Rico. I went and had a vacation for 10 days. Then I moved like a year later. And for Guatemala, I visited for like 11 days. And then I moved like 2 months later. So I was very happy with the move, but that's a roll of the dice. My risk tolerance is pretty high. I'm very mobile. I wasn't attached. I don't have kids. I wasn't married at the time. I'm still not married, but I didn't have any serious girlfriends. And I had been downsizing my life to be able to do that eventually. So I was ready and I was very mobile. So it wasn't a thing for me, but I know that's not everyone's situation. A lot of people got families, they got a significant other, etc. Um, but back to the reasons and back to seeing things clearly right now. Okay, the empires go in cycles. Okay, if you've seen or if you've read the book The Fourth Turning, that talks about the four cycles of an empire. If you've read Ray Dalio's books, he talks about the cycles of an empire, and the authors of those books and so many others believe that the United States, the American empire, is on the downslope. Okay. Every empire has gone through these cycles. Some of them have lasted longer, some of them have been shorter. Okay. And within every empire and its cycles, there's always been people who have said, no, things are fine. There have always been people who have wanted to keep moving into the territory of the empire. Okay. There have always been people who have said our best days are in front of us. And I'm not here to tell you how to think about it, how the current situation things are of how things are, but it don't take, you know. I think a fourth grader could see the current situation and of the potential directions it's going, which direction it is going. Okay. So I'm sure in the last days and the last years of Rome, there were still people immigrating to it. I'm sure there was politicians and people and citizens that were still saying, oh, things are fine. If you leave, you're unpatriotic. No, you got to stay. You got to do your part. You have to fix this because you're the next Martin Luther King. You're the next Mahatma Gandhi. You're the next Abe Lincoln. It's like, come on, people. I'm not the next Martin Luther King. I'm not the next Mahatma Gandhi. So you can listen to them, or you can finally execute on what's been in the back of your mind, what you've known to be true, what you've felt just based on your observations, based on all the lies that have been fed to us that have, you know, they're told as truths and ended up becoming lies. And you can act on that. There's no better time than now. The best time to plant a tree was yesterday, last year, 10 years ago. The second best time is now, today. Okay? Yep. Gas prices are going up. Airline flights are going up because of the Strait of Hormuz being closed down to people who are not friendly with Iran. And that's having an impact on things. But if you really want this to be your time, if you really want to experience living in another country, if you really believe that the good times for the USA and the empire and the Western Europe that, you know, is attached to the hip with it, if those times are in the past and the dollar is losing its value, then it's time to make that plan and act. Okay? Again, in the last days of Rome, I'm going to say this again. I guarantee there was people who were still moving in to whatever loot from the system, to leech off the system. Maybe even they just didn't know how bad things were and they wanted to come build a business and have a better life for themselves. But history showed, when we look back, that it was already on the decline and it was close to the end. Okay? I'm sure there was politicians in Rome in the end years that were still trying to say, this is good. we're going to get better. And God bless the ones and the ones today that are trying to make it better, that do believe there is a path to change things around. But me personally, I think the dollar has been devalued with Ben Bernanke back in the 2000s, when he printed money and lowered rates to get us out of the crisis. That basically handcuffed every Fed chair from then on out to do the same thing when there was a crisis. And that has drastically decreased the value of the United States dollar. And now we have the two-tier economy where you have the elites, the billionaires, and then you have the rest of us. And the two-tier justice system where you have those in power, those with money who can get out of serving their time, serving their justice for their crimes. And then you have the rest of us who don't have access to that and would have to pay the fine, spend time in jail, whatever. I don't like getting too political, but politics affects everything, okay? Politics affects everything. A little bacon and eggs for dinner. And there was people in Rome who saw the writing on the wall, who saw the currency getting devalued, who saw that Rome was trying to control so much territory, it was spread so thin. America has 800 some military bases across the world. And they saw that Rome, that its best days was behind them, and they took action and they moved. Okay, maybe some of them chose a country that didn't work out for them, that wasn't the best. Okay, that maybe they were going into bad times. Okay, governments get overthrown all the time, disasters, catastrophes, crises happen all the time. They're completely random events. But other people moved to countries that they thought had better opportunities, and those countries ended up having better opportunities, better economic opportunities, and just safer, okay? So the time is now. I really believe it. I think a warning shot across the bow was COVID, just how screwed up and how many lies were spread during that time. And a lot of people saw it, and a lot of people got out of the United States. And I think this is another shot across the bow. Okay, I think you're an absolute fool if you think just because Republicans are in power right now that the Democrats are the solution. That's just an objective observation. I don't think you're a dumb person. I just think you don't see it clearly if you think just voting in the other party is the answer. Okay. The two-party system is the problem, okay? We've voted in 6 sociopath presidents in a row, and this is what you get. You know, you just get a country that's in continual decline, continual deficits and debts. So go. Who's to tell you, who has the right to tell you that you can't? Who has the right to tell you that it is not the time? Who has the right to tell you, you need to stay, you need to do this? You have one freaking life, okay? You have one freaking life, so you gotta do what you think is best, okay? And the number one priority for all of us across the history of time, number one thing to do is to survive, okay? Food, shelter, clothing, safety, all right? No one can tell you the way you want to do that is the wrong way to do that. As long as you're not hurting anyone, as long as you're not stealing anyone's property, as long as you're not killing anyone, nobody can tell you that you're wrong, okay? So go do it. Do your research, but limit your research, okay? Ready, fire, aim. Don't get bogged down in analysis paralysis, okay? I'm passionate about this because I did that for so long, okay? Even when still to this day, I've moved to Puerto Rico, I've moved to Mexico, I moved to Guatemala. I've done that, okay? I've pulled the trigger and taken action. But even still, I'm not absent from having those thoughts and going through analysis paralysis. Almost every time I want to go on vacation, almost every time, I research, I look at flights, I'm trying to find the best day to fly out, I'm trying to find things to do, and I just get bogged down in that stuff, and what I really need to do is just buy a plane ticket, then figure it out in the weeks or months leading up to the trip, and then just go. And if plans don't work out, if plans need to change, then they need to change, okay? Nothing is going to be perfect. When you move to another country, you may not like it, okay? You try it out for a year, move somewhere else, okay? Yes, it might be tough. Yes, logistically, you're going to have to get through these things. But bro, it is your life and you only get one of them. Do you want to be bogged down in a place where wages are not matching inflation, the prices of everything? I shouldn't even say that. That's an incorrect view of things. Yes, visually prices go up, but that's because the value of the dollar goes down, okay? It's not business owners trying to gouge you. The vast majority of the time, there are sleazeballs out there who will do that. But the reason that, I used to work at coffee shops. The reason that a large cup of coffee used to cost $1 when I worked there in the early 2000s, and now I think if I go back to the same coffee shop, it's a chain in Minnesota, Caribou Coffee, and now like a large coffee is like $3, $3.50. It's not because Caribou decided, oh, we need to keep raising prices. It's because the value of the dollar goes down because of the people in power. They don't know how to be responsible. Okay. So someone tells you that you can't go somewhere, that you need to stay, that it's your responsibility to stay and fix things. Okay. Okay. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. Okay. As I go off and I go on my plan and I execute my plan and you do the same. Okay. Oh, it's unpatriotic to leave. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. As I go off and make my plan and buy my plane ticket and sell my stuff and save up 6 months of an egg nest, of a safety net, and then I go do it, okay? Listen to them. I mean, you don't even have to listen to them, but love them, be compassionate with them, okay? Everyone forms their views some way. A lot of it is from childhood, and most of us, the majority of people, had really messed up or not so good childhoods, okay? Especially like since the 70s, 60s and 70s, okay? And I think it's just getting worse and worse, okay? Our overall maturity level in the West, I believe, just keeps getting lower and lower and lower. So immature people are just raising more immature kids, and the cycle continues. So who cares about them? Okay, love them, be compassionate, have empathy for them. They got to those views. We may think that they're incorrect, but they got to those views somehow. Okay, and they're still people, and they still have value. But you don't owe them anything to stay. All right, if you want to seek safety, if you want to seek better economic opportunity, if you just want to seek peace and a slower pace of life and go to a place like in Latin America, everywhere I've been in Latin America, where people value time with their family, they value time with their friends, okay? When you're at a restaurant, the restaurant is not trying to hurry you out the door as soon as you're done eating, they give you your bill. No, they will let you stay and they will let you talk, and you have to flag them down to get your check to pay it. It is a completely different way of culture, okay? And it's beautiful. When I first noticed that in Puerto Rico, how important family was, I was like, oh man, like that feels good just to see other people doing it, not even to be involved, just walking by a park and you see a grandma and all her kids and a bunch of the grandkids and maybe some great grandkids all hanging out, having a good time. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's like, oh man, it reminds me of the 80s when I was a kid and like my grandma had a house and we all came there. And then slowly over time, we've kind of spread out to different states. So love them, love these people, have compassion for them, but don't feel guilty and you can feel guilty, you can feel shame, but I believe it's unfounded, okay? And you have every right, just like the majority of people that live in the United States, someone in their family at some point said, I want better opportunity. Whether it's for me by myself, I don't have any wife or kids, or I want it for my family and for my future grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and down the line, okay? So, and now you don't have to go across the ocean, in a 1-month journey on a boat, on a steamship, on a sailboat, okay? We have planes that are super safe, that are safer than cars, and there's thousands of flights every day all over the world. Okay, it is easier than it's ever been. All right, even with prices going up, the actual process of buying a ticket and going somewhere is easier than it's ever been. So Do your research, find out the immigration laws, the visa rules, if there's any, if you can go there visa free just with a passport and get a stamp, get your 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 100 to 80 days if you're going to Mexico, and get on it. And let me know how it is. Let me know what you're doing, what countries you're thinking about, any questions you have in the comments section. I'm super interested in it. As you can tell, I get a little passionate about this. I get a little passionate, especially about the people that try to hold us back from doing these things, okay? Because taking action, this will, for the rest of your life, if you're a person that slowly becomes someone who takes action, okay? I believe, I love a book by Pete Walker called Complex PTSD. And one thing he says in there is he says, I live a balanced life of work, relaxation, and play. Those three things. If you're all work, if you're all relaxation, or if you're all play, you're going to be out of balance. Okay. So as you become a person who takes action and, moves into the direction of the goals of your dreams, that will make people feel uncomfortable, those who are not taking that action. So when they say those things like, hey, you're unpatriotic, or hey, you need to stay here and help us fix that, that's just their way of saying you taking action makes me feel uncomfortable. Okay. I really want to be doing the same thing you're doing, but I'm scared. Okay. Hey man, I was scared too. Okay. I'm still scared because I don't know if I'm going to stay in Guatemala, and I have to think about where I want to go next. Okay. Where do I want to be long-term? All right. And it's scary to think about. It's scary to think of taking more action and leaving my roots here and then going somewhere else. Every time I've moved, I've had to go through that. Okay. It's not foreign to me being scared to do these things, but I've taken action even while being scared. Right? I'm nothing special. I'm literally nothing special. I came from a super abusive home. I had no self-confidence. I had no self-esteem. It was beaten out of me, and it was screamed out of me and yelled at out of me through my infancy, through my teenage years and beyond. Okay. And it took years of therapy. It took years of reading books. It took some plant medicine ceremonies, and it took me working on myself. Okay. And it was a long process to get to where I'm at, to have confidence in myself, to look in the mirror now and to be happy. Okay. With what I see, not because oh my God, I'm so beautiful. I'm the best. Okay. But I'm content with who I am. This is all I have. This body is all I have. This mind is all I have. I get this one shot, and I'm so grateful for it. And I'm so thankful for it. And I'm sorry for what happened in the past to me. It wasn't my fault. Okay. I reacted like anyone else, any other kid would have reacted in that situation. Okay. It was survival mode in my home. All right. It was survival mode in a place where I was not welcomed. I was not loved. I came from that, and I've become a person who, I love myself. I believe in myself. It's a struggle, every day. It's not as much as a struggle as it used to be, but it's much better now. Life is much better now because I have processed those things. I've done the therapy with a good therapist. I've had to go through a few. I've read the books on, being raised by narcissistic parents, being raised in abusive homes. And I've done the plant medicine ceremonies, and I'm not done. I'm not done at all. Okay. I'm going to be working on this system until I die. Absolutely until I die. Okay. There is no quick fix, and there is no day when we arrive at there's no arrival point. As long as we're still breathing, there's still opportunity to grow, and there's still things that we can get better at. There's still things that we can heal, things that we can get stronger at. Okay. It's a beautiful thing. It's an absolutely beautiful thing. And I wish everyone on their journey, I wish them the best. I just send out love to everyone watching this. And again, I'm truly interested to hear about what you're thinking about in the comments, or if you've already made the move. I really want to interact with you. I want to encourage you. And if you've got any questions about what it's like, how to get over these mental hurdles, I would love to answer them. So thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share.